church and so on. And I think he really got a good documentary out of the situation. So when he came along to do the documentary, we spoke extensively about, you know, what is it that we want to get out of it. And I think part of it is really to show, you know, the rest of the world, you know, this journey to help our brothers and sisters to reconcile sexuality and spirituality. And I think that, you know, as an activist myself, you know, I believe that everyone has a right to freedom of thoughts and conscience and religion, regardless of their sexual orientation and gender identity. And I think this is one of the things that actually propelled us, you know, to put this into a documentary itself.
Thank you. So maybe a sort of larger question then. Unfortunately, we couldn't get anyone involved in Kuchis of Uganda to be here. Matilda Peel, I think is how you say it, was unable to attend. And David Kaito is actually in the UK but was giving a speech in Manchester. He ended up being double booked, but I'm sure he's someone that you could seek out and he'd speak sometime. I'm sure that'd be very interesting. But what can we do? I'm sure most people here are here because we want to know more and we want to know how we can help. So maybe the activists on this side could tell us a little bit more about what we can be doing here.
Yeah, I think there's really is a lot more we can do. As an activist myself, I'm actually part of a lot of human rights organizations. For example, Raise the Image, which is a collective of artists and activists, and we're using art to reach out to people, to raise awareness, and to expose these violations of human rights that are happening across the world, including what's happening in South Africa. So, for example, Mosa, is this sort of like art which we sort of use, to reach people who are in South Africa and raise awareness. And I found Mosa a very powerful piece of art which, if probably is distributed in South Africa, can really maybe touch a lot of people, whether they are homosexuals or homophobic or straight and stuff, because I think so using art, and then as well as protesting. Tomorrow we're actually hosting a protest in front of the Commonwealth because of the issue that's going on in Malawi, where 2 gay men were arrested and they're being convicted possibly tomorrow. So we're also doing protest, and we're doing a lot of stuff where you can join lots of groups like Outrage, you can join a lot of groups like Noisy Image, you can join a lot of groups that we're creating a lot more groups. And I was also talking to other activists, and we're coming up with an idea maybe to protest. For example, in Africa we've got Independence Days. For example, Zimbabwe, I'm from Zimbabwe, we've got an Independence Day in April, and I personally don't feel that Zimbabwe is independent if all people, especially of the LGBTI community, are not free to love and are being arrested for being in love with someone. So we are trying to hijack those independent days and actually protest on the days and write letters to Commonwealth. So there are a lot of things that people can get involved with. I think a lot of people feel that they can't do anything, but there's a lot that you can do in small ways. You don't always have to be an activist, you might not be an artist, but you always find something that you can influence or add or a word to say, even if it's just a letter, even if it's just signing a petition, writing to the Commonwealth and stuff like that.
And showing up for protests.
Yeah, and showing up for protests. That's probably another problem that we have, I find, especially in the Black community. We don't get a lot of people showing up for protests, and a lot of people are not out there. And I think visibility is very powerful, and because in Africa, homosexuality is considered un-African and Western, and it's not. Actually, homophobia is what is Western and what was brought to Africa. And probably people are visible, we can fight, because these people are actually, thinking a war against our sexualities, and how we're going to win that war is actually fighting them with our own sexualities, and that is by being visible.
Thank you.
Well, personally for me, I'm going to come from an angle of being a bit subtle and be very diplomatic when you deal with this issue. There was one reoccurrence word that was used in that film, and that has been debate. I try not to debate my sexuality with anybody because it is not contentious. I am not going to sit down with you at the table and debate it. But you have the option of discussing it with me, because that is what I do. I will discuss my sexuality with you. I will not debate my sexuality with you. And another thing we need to understand is, we can also see from the film from Uganda, that Africans are not naturally homophobic. they don't have information. The only information that Africans have are those information that are coming from bigots like the pastors in Uganda and like those medical students. If there are alternative informations, then those alternative informations that actually have faces of people that are African and people can relate with, I bet you in 5 years there will be a great change in Africa. And those are kind of the thing we need to start doing now. And that is why, you know, more of these films. There are so many stories around us here. I ran away from Nigeria because there was a great threat to my life. That is a story on its own. She ran away from Zimbabwe. That is a story on its own. If these stories are actually put together and are given to people at home, it puts a natural face to homosexuality, an everyday face to homosexuality. People will start rethinking. People will start asking them questions. And also, I love the idea of protest, like I always say, but I also believe that it should be kind of like a last resort when everything has failed, that we hit the street, make noise, campaign, and do all those kind of things. Another thing you can do to help us, there's so many organizations in Africa, like in Nigeria, the Independent Project, and so many organizations. It doesn't matter even if these people are able to get £10 or £20 from UK every month. It helps them to organize training, to train media persons, to train people in the community, because we're always asking for a change of law. South Africa is the only country in Africa that has a law that does not discriminate against homosexuality, but the people at the grassroots will do corrective rape. People at the grassroots will kill homosexuals. So it is not about the law, it is about changing the behavior of people at the grassroots. And that is what we should be investing in. We should not be clamoring for a change of law. When people at the grassroots understand that there are different types of sexuality, they themselves will stand up one day and say, we demand for a change. And until that has happened, no matter how much we play too much pressure on Museveni, no matter how much we play pressure on Yaradua in Nigeria, or on the one in Uganda, or the one in Zimbabwe or Zambia, it's never going to work, because the people at the grassroots are the one and the only one that can effect change. And the only way we can help them is investing in LGBT organizations back in Africa to organize training and develop peer educators, people that can go into their community and start preaching the word of love and not of hate.
Jude actually has some information about the protest tomorrow, so perhaps we could read that and then open it up to the floor.
Okay, I think, you know, just taking the cue from BC there, I think there's a lot that we can do, and I do believe that many people are already doing that. And we know that technology is going fast to Facebook and everything. But tomorrow is a day that we can all come together. Tell your friends, you know, tell all your Facebook network. Tomorrow, Malawi protest to free Tiwonge and Stephen. It's going to take place outside the Commonwealth Secretariat in Pomo. The time is 12:30 p.m. Show up, come along, you know, and let us join our voices together and begin to make that change. And I think this is part of the important thing that we are looking to do. Unfortunately, for people like myself and BC and Sky and many other people that left Africa out of difficult circumstances, what we can do now is to lend our voice as the voice of the voiceless and our face to be the face of the faceless. And I hope to see you all tomorrow at the protest. Thank you.